across the north today at home, your learning center, or in Bell Expressview. To call and join our class, you can call 1-800-465-7144 or 737-4017 or 2983 in the Sioux Lookout, Lac, Sewell, or Dryden area. I'd like to welcome everyone back to class today. This is our first class of the week, and we're currently in week 7. So we have this week, next week, and then week 9. So we have 12 classes left. I will be traveling up to Satchko Lake next Wednesday, coming back next Thursday. So class will be canceled. I will probably pre-record it, but I'll let you know more about that next week as we get closer to the date. So I'd like to welcome everyone back. We're going to be starting Unit 3 today. Now, even though we only have 3 weeks left for 2 units, these units are very, very short, at least for our time to cover them. I expect we'll have almost the entire Unit 3 done by the end of the week. Today we'll do Lesson 11 and we'll start Lesson 12. We'll finish Lesson 12 and start Lesson 13 tomorrow. And finish Lesson 13 probably Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll be close to done it. So, the reason why it's going to take us not a lot of time is when you look at our chart for our key questions, which you can find on page 2. You'll notice that there is only 8 key questions for the whole unit. That's because these questions are a bit more in-depth, a bit more detail, but they are still, there's lesson to do. So we're going to quickly run through what you're looking at and before we go to lesson 11. So key questions 38, 39, we're going to do today. Those are from lesson 11. Key questions 40 and 41 are lesson 12, which we'll look at later today. We'll actually get to the key questions themselves tomorrow. I'm assuming we'll probably get the key questions done tomorrow in class, or we'll finish them on Wednesday. Key question 42 and 43 come from lesson 13. Key question 44 is the only key question for lesson 14. And key question 45 is the only key question for lesson 15. So you compare that to what we looked at, we had in lessons or units 1 and 2, where we had 18 key questions for each. There's a lot less that you have to do and have to complete. So this whole unit revolves and focuses around the movie Twilight Eclipse. That's what everything is focused on and focused around. So the first thing is you will have to watch this movie. If you can't find a copy in your learning center, let me know, preferably tonight or first thing tomorrow. And I can get a copy put on the Express and you have it sent up this week. If not, you will have to wait a week. It gets pretty close to the end. So try and get... let me know if you need this movie right away. So, we're going to get a bit of background on the Twilight Saga. So when we think about that, first thing we're looking at is a bit of a plot summary for the first 2 movies. The movie you're watching, Twilight Eclipse, is the 3rd movie in the franchise. It's a total of 5 movies. And all the movies are based on books that were written. Um, so the books are uh, called Twilight, Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn, Twilight Saga Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn's the last one. Uh, Twilight, uh, Twilight New Moon, Twilight uh, Eclipse, and Twilight Breaking Dawn. The movies are broken up. They broke the last book up into 2 parts for the movies. So, in case you've never heard of it, or you aren't aware of it, or it's been a little while since you watched the movies, we have a bit of a plot summary at the beginning of Unit 3. So I'm going to read through this and get into some activities. And then that's all we have for Lesson 11. So, about Twilight Eclipse, or Twilight. So 17-year, this is the plot for the first movie. It says 17-year-old Isabella, or Bella Swan, moves to Forks, a small town near the Washington coast, to live with her father Charlie, after her mother is remarried to a minor league baseball player. She is quickly befriended by many students at her new high school. But she's intrigued by the mysterious and aloof Cullen siblings. Bella sits next to Edward Cullen in biology class on her first day of school. He appears to be disgusted by her, much to Bella's confusion. A few days later, Bella is nearly struck by a van in the school parking lot. Edward inexplicably moves from several feet away and stops the vehicle with his hand without any harm to himself or Bella. He later refuses to explain this act to Bella and then warns her against befriending him. After much research, Bella eventually discovers that Edward is a vampire, although he only consumes animal blood. The pair fall in love, and Edward introduces Bella to his vampire family: Carlisle, Esme, Alice, Jasper, Emmett, and Rosalie. Soon after, 3 nomadic vampires, James, Victoria, and Laurent, arrive. James, a tracker vampire, is intrigued by Edward's protectiveness over a human and wants to hunt Bella for sport. Edward and his family risk their lives to protect her. But James tracks Bella to Phoenix, where she's hiding, and lures her into a trap by claiming he's holding her mother. James attacks Bella and bites her wrist, but Edward, along with the other Cullen family members, arrive before he can kill her. James is destroyed, and Edward sucks James's venom from Bella's wrist, preventing her from becoming a vampire. A severely injured Bella is taken to the hospital. Upon returning to Forks, Bella and Edward attend their school prom. While there, Bella expresses her desire to become a vampire, which Edward refuses to grant. The film ends with Victoria secretly watching the pair dancing, plotting revenge for her lover James's death. That's the end of the first movie. The second one's called Twilight New Moon. And it says on her 18th birthday, Bella wakes up from a dream in which she sees herself as an old woman. She expresses her distaste for growing old than her boyfriend Edward Cullen, a vampire who's stopped aging physically at 17. Despite her lack of enthusiasm, Edward's adoptive family throws Bella a birthday party. While unwrapping a gift, Bella gets a paper cut, causing Edward's brother Jasper to become overwhelmed by the blood scent and attempt to kill her. Realizing the danger that he and his family pose to Bella, Edward ends their relationship and the Cullens leave Forks, Washington. Edward's departure leaves Bella heartbroken and depressed for months. However, when her father Charlie finally decides to send her to live with her mother in Florida, Bella refuses and agrees to spend more time with her friends. After seeing a movie with Jessica, Bella sees a group of men on motorcycles. This reminds her of when Edward previously rescued her from an assault, and she sees his image, wanting her to stay away. Bella discovers that all the thrill-seeking activities evoke Edward's preserved image. She's also comforted by Jacob Black, a cheerful companion who eases her pain over losing Edward. When Jacob suddenly begins avoiding her, Bella discovers that he has become a werewolf, an age-old enemy of vampires. Jacob's pack members are on constant patrol for Victoria, a vampire who wants to avenge the death of her mate James, who was killed by Edward in an effort to save Bella from him. That leaves Jacob little time to spend with her. Alone again, Bella returns to seeking thrill-inducing activities. Through a series of miscommunications, Edward believes that Bella has killed herself by jumping off a cliff into the ocean. Distraught over her supposed suicide, Edward travels to Italy to provoke the Volturi, a powerful vampire family capable of killing him, by exposing himself as a vampire to humans. Alice, Edward's sister, and Bella rush to Italy to save Edward and arrive just in time to stop him. It is then that Edward tells Bella that he always loved her and only left to protect her. However, the Volturi determine that Bella, a human who knows that vampires exist, must either be killed or transformed into a vampire herself. Alice stops them from killing her by sharing her premonition with Arrow, the Volturi elder who's able to read thoughts through touch, in which Bella has been transformed. Soon after, they return to Forks, and Bella forgives Edward for leaving her. The Cullens vote in favor of Bella being transformed into a vampire, much to Edward and Rosalie's dismay. Later on, Jacob reminds Edward of the treaty the Cullens made with the Quileute tribe. They will not attack each other as long as the Cullens do not bite any humans, an action necessary for Bella's transformation. The movie concludes with Edward telling Bella that he will change her into a vampire after she marries him. So, that's the plot summary from the first two movies. So we have now with key questions 38 and 39. So, key question 38 is asking you to think of what we already know. These are our pre-viewing questions. Just like we had before reading and before writing, or pre-reading and pre-writing questions, we have pre or before viewing questions. So there's 3 questions, and I want you to think about these answers. So number 1 says, what do you already know about vampires? In point form, list what you already know about them. Your knowledge can come from movies, TV shows, books, magazines, internet, or any other source. So pretty much anything you ever heard about vampires. You can look at you just finished reading a novel about a vampire. You can talk about stuff from that. What you've seen on TV, in books, and other movies. Think about what you know about those vampires. And this list can just be done in bullet or point form. And so it's worth 5 marks. I would expect you to have at least 6 to 7 different points. I've had students send and work that had 15 points. It's just done to get you thinking about what you know about vampires. And question 2 is the exact same thing, looking at werewolves. What do you know about werewolves? Same thing. This will probably be shorter. I'm expecting maybe 5 or 6 points, but the more you have, the better. And then number 3 says, what do you already know about the Twilight Saga? This can include what you just read in the lesson, as well as what you already knew before you started this unit. That's for 3 marks, for a total of 13. So this should only take you probably 15 minutes. It won't take you very long. And then key question 39 is ask you to make some predictions. You thought about what you already knew or what was your prior knowledge. They're going to make some predictions or some guesses. So look at the following movie poster for a Twilight Eclipse. What predictions or educated guesses can you make about what will happen in the movie? Write out at least 5 predictions. Well, what you think will happen in the movie based on what you see in the poster. It should be in sentence form on lined paper. So here's a movie poster, and you see the tagline. It all begins with a choice. So a prediction could be Bella's going to have to choose between Edward and Jacob. That's a prediction. I predict she will choose Jacob. It's not a prediction. I predict that there'll be a fight between the two of them. That's another prediction. Well, I'm trying to make at least 5 predictions. And that's all the way for lesson 11. So I want to give you about 5 minutes or so to get started with this. We'll take a break. We'll come back. If we have any questions, you're not quite sure how to do anything, let me know. And I will gladly answer any of those questions. But get started with this, and we'll come back about 5:35. And we will start with lesson 12. I will talk to you then. And we are back. Give me a chance to get started looking at lesson 11, key questions 38 and 39. If you do have any questions, let me know. Reach by phone, email, text, Facebook. And you can get home with me pretty much anytime. Right now, we are getting close to the end of our term. With radio students, you do have until the 19th of June in the midweek. But if you are planning to graduate this year, we cannot do an extension. If there are students who are planning needs credit and aren't graduating, you want extension for a bit later, that we can arrange that. But if you are graduating, there is no option for an extension for this term. So try to get done whatever you can as soon as you can and get it in. Even if it's only just a couple of key questions. I'll look it over, I'll give you some feedback, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Right now, I only have one thing on my desk I need to mark tomorrow, so you hand it in tonight. You'll probably get back either tomorrow night or on Wednesday morning. And I send stuff back by scanning and emailing it to DECs. So we'll keep going on. We'll move on to lesson 12. Now, in this lesson, you need to watch the movie. We're doing an assignment that you don't need to complete. You don't have to watch the movie before you complete this lesson, these assignments. It was structured this way on purpose. So in case you don't have the movie or you can't find it right away, you can still keep working through it and get wanting to watch the movie as you do it, or the next day. So your first task this lesson is to watch the movie Twilight Eclipse. There's a copy of your Learning Center if you don't own it. As you watch it, be aware of how First Nations people are being portrayed. Ask yourself if you think that they are shown acting and behavior. If they're sorry, ask yourself if you think the way that they're shown acting and their behavior is good or bad. Is it accurate, or is it just something that's made up for Hollywood? Are they showing in a positive or a negative way? Then we have a little plot summary there of the movie. I'm going to read that over now. I know some people are still watching it. If you are, feel free to tune out for the next little bit, but I want to go over this first. For those people who have already watched it or who may have seen it a little while ago and aren't planning on watching it, I want to read through this. And then we'll get started with our content, which is looking at researching. You are going to be practicing some research skills, and then you're going to be creating a PowerPoint presentation on the First Nations tribe that is portrayed in the movie, which is the Quileute tribe. So look at where do they live, what's their culture, their language, their heritage, all things that make them who they are. But first we have the movie summary. So it says, in Seattle, not far from Forks, Victoria attacks and bites Riley Beers in order to begin creating an army of newborns with him. Back in Forks, Edward Cullen and Bella Swan discuss the complications of becoming an immortal vampire. At 18 years old, 1 year older than the age Edward was when he was turned, Bella expresses her aversion to the idea of marrying so young, though Edward refuses to turn into a vampire unless they are married. His argument that she should have various human experiences she would otherwise miss. While Charlie Swan investigates the disappearance of Riley Beers, Edward suspects the disappearance is caused by the newborn vampires. Furthering his suspicions is Riley's intrusion into Bella's room. Although Edward fears for her safety, Bella insists that Jacob Black and the rest of the werewolf pack would never harm her. But Edward's still not convinced. Bella goes to La Push to see Jacob and returns home unharmed. During one of her visits, Jacob confesses that he's in love with Bella and forcefully kisses her. Furious, she punches him and sprains her hand. And Edward later threatens Jacob and tells him only to kiss her if she asks him. Bella even revokes the invitations of Jacob and his pack members to her graduation party. But when Jacob apologizes for his behavior, she forgives him. Meanwhile, Alice sees a vision that the newborn army is attacking with Forks led by Riley Beers. Jacob, accompanied by Quill and Embry, overhear this, which leads to an alliance between the Cullens and the Wolf Pack. Later, the Cullens and the Wolves agree to a meeting place and time to train and discuss strategy. During the training, Jasper explains to Bella that he was created by a vampire named Maria to control a newborn army. He hated his original existence, and upon meeting Alice, joined the Cullens with her. Bella sees the true bond between a mated vampire pair and begins to understand Jasper better. Despite her reluctance to marry, Bella realizes that spending eternity with Edward is more important to her than anything else and agrees to marry him. Edward and Bella camp up in the mountains to hide Bella, from the brothers' newborns. During the night, Bella overhears a conversation between Edward and Jacob, in which they temporarily put aside their hatred towards each other. In the morning, Jacob overhears Edward and Bella discussing their engagement and storms off angrily. Bella desperately asks him to kiss her and realizes that she's fallen in love with him. Edward finds out about the kiss but is not upset, as Bella says she loves him more than Jacob. When Victoria appears, Edward kills her while Seth kills Riley. The Cullens and the Kalute Wolves, meanwhile, destroy her army, though Jacob is injured, saving Leah Clearwater from a newborn. Several members of the vampire police, the Volturi, arrive to deal with the newborn army. They also see that the Cullens are guarding the newborn, Bree Tanner, who had refused to fight and surrender Carlisle. Jane tortures Bree for information, and then instructs Felix to kill her, despite the Cullens' efforts to spare her. When Jane notes that Caius will find interesting that Bella is still human, Bella informs her that a date for her transformation has been set. Bella visits the injured Jacob to tell him that even though she's in love with him, she's chosen to be with Edward. Saddened by her choice, Jacob reluctantly agrees to stop trying to come between her and Edward. Bella and Edward go to the meadow, where she tells him she's decided to do things his way. Get married, make love, then be transferred into a vampire. She also explains she's never been normal and never will be. She's felt out of place her entire life. But when she's in Edward's world, she feels stronger and complete. At the end of the story, they decide they need to tell a tribe about their engagement. So that's our plot summary. Please, if you haven't done so, or if you get a chance, please watch the movie today or tomorrow as soon as you can. Because we're going to do some research based on what we've encountered so far in the movie and what we know. So when you can research, you're looking for information on a specific topic. There are millions of websites on the internet, but very few are reliable and accurate. Since anyone can write and publish on the internet, you must be aware of any bias or the favoring of one viewpoint over another. When you conduct research online, there are several different steps that you can complete. You don't have to complete every step, but you are new to research. They offer a good way to focus your efforts and finish your research quickly and effectively. Below are 6 steps that will help you in your research. So we won't get through all these steps. We'll get through some today. So first is to make sure you know exactly what you have to find. So the more exactly you know what you're looking for, the easier it will be to find it. So make sure you have a very set and very clear research goal. So for our example, we are going to be looking at the Kalute tribe. So instead of searching First Nations in the U.S., you could search the Kalute tribe or Kalute tribe Forks, Washington. Will really narrow it down. So have a clear idea of what you're researching, a clear topic, and think about different questions or different subtopics that you could research. Number 2 is to use multiple word searches. So what that means is that you need to have multiple word searches so you can have focus in on a specific area. So if we go to Google, if we just type in vampires, just on vampires, we see we got 41.8 million hits on Google. And this is people for stuff that's all over the place. You have different topics from wine and vineyards to movies to real history. All this ties into that. But we're focused just on little stuff in Twilight. So you're type in vampires in Twilight. You see it's narrowed down exactly to stuff that's just in Twilight, which makes it a whole much easier to search. And I think that's where we'll end for today. We don't have time to do the rest of it. We'll look at the rest of these steps tomorrow, as well as starting with our key question and our researching. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. I'll talk to everyone again at the exact same time tomorrow night. Till then, miigwech, and bye for now.